Across the world, there are stones that seem to challenge expectation. Massive blocks, stacked with incredible precision. Walls built from stones so heavy they appear almost impossible to move. Monuments created thousands of years ago, long before modern cranes, engines, or steel machinery. These structures are known as megaliths. The word simply means great stone. But for centuries, these ancient constructions have raised difficult questions. How were they built? Why were they built? And what do they reveal about the civilizations that created them? Some people claim these sites are proof of lost technology or forgotten super-civilizations. But the real story is far more interesting, because the evidence shows something extraordinary. Ancient societies, using organization, engineering, labor, and patience, achieved feats that still inspire awe today. This is the story of the ancient megaliths that continue to raise questions, not because they are impossible, but because they demonstrate how capable ancient humans really were. What is a megalith? The term megalith refers to large stones used in prehistoric or ancient construction. These stones appear across multiple continents and cultures. Some were used for tombs, temples, defensive walls, ceremonial sites, astronomical alignments. Others still remain mysterious. One important thing to understand is that megalithic construction did not emerge from a single civilization. Different cultures developed large stone building techniques independently. This makes the phenomenon even more remarkable. Without modern communication networks, societies separated by oceans and centuries all discovered ways to shape and move enormous stones. And although their methods varied, many shared similar challenges: transportation, alignment, weight distribution, structural stability. Megaliths were not random piles of stone. They were carefully engineered structures. Stonehenge and the question of purpose. One of the world's most famous megalithic sites is Stonehenge. Built in stages beginning more than 4,000 years ago, Stonehenge continues to fascinate researchers. The monument consists of massive standing stones arranged in circular formations. Some stones weigh over 20 tons. Even more astonishing is the origin of certain smaller stones, known as blue stones, which were transported from Wales over 200 kilometers away. How exactly this transportation was achieved remains debated. Possible methods include wooden sledges, river transport, rollers, human labor teams. But transportation is only part of the mystery. Stonehenge also appears carefully aligned with astronomical events, especially the summer solstice sunrise. This suggests the monument may have served ceremonial or calendarical functions. The builders clearly possessed planning ability, social organization, knowledge of landscape and astronomy, and, perhaps most importantly, they invested enormous effort into a structure whose purpose may have been symbolic as much as practical. The impossible-looking walls of Sacsayhuamán. High above the city of Cusco in Peru stands Sacsayhuamán. At first glance, the site looks almost unreal. Gigantic stone blocks fitted together with astonishing precision. Some stones weigh more than 100 tons. Unlike simple rectangular construction, many blocks have complex polygonal shapes with multiple interlocking angles. The fit between stones is so tight that even today it is difficult to insert a blade between them. This has led to countless exaggerated theories online, but archaeology provides more grounded explanations. The Inca and earlier Andean cultures likely shaped stones through hammerstones, abrasion, repeated refinement, and careful testing during placement. The precision came from patience and craftsmanship rather than impossible tools. Importantly, Peru is also earthquake-prone. Polygonal masonry may have helped walls absorb seismic movement more effectively. This suggests that megalithic construction was not only impressive, it was functional engineering adapted to local conditions. The massive stones of Baalbek. In modern-day Lebanon lies Baalbek, home to some of the largest stones ever used in construction. The site includes massive foundation stones weighing hundreds of tons. Nearby quarries contain even larger, unfinished blocks. One famous example, often called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman, weighs an estimated 1,000 tons. This naturally raises a major question. How were such enormous stones moved? Researchers believe ancient builders used combinations of rollers, earth ramps, levers, and human and animal labor. Large teams working together over long periods could gradually reposition stones using relatively simple mechanical principles. What often surprises modern observers is that ancient engineering did not depend on speed. Projects could take years or generations, and this changes our perspective. Ancient builders were not constrained by modern economic pressures or construction deadlines. They had time, labor, and organizational systems capable of supporting monumental projects. Göbekli Tepe and the beginning of monumental building. One of the most important archaeological discoveries of the last century is Göbekli Tepe. Dating back more than 11,000 years, the site predates Stonehenge and the Egyptian pyramids by thousands of years. This changed how archaeologists think about early human society. Before Göbekli Tepe, many researchers assumed large-scale monuments emerged only after agriculture and settled civilization. But Göbekli Tepe suggests something different. Hunter-gatherer communities were already capable of organizing labor for monumental construction. The site features massive T-shaped stone pillars, animal carvings, and circular enclosures. The stones were shaped and transported without metal tools, and yet the builders created one of the earliest known monumental religious complexes in human history. This discovery did not rewrite history completely, but it refined it. It showed that social complexity may have emerged earlier than previously believed. The Moai of Easter Island. Far out in the Pacific Ocean lies Easter Island. The island is famous for its giant stone statues, known as moai. Hundreds of these statues were carved by the Rapa Nui people. Some weighed dozens of tons. For years, researchers debated how they were transported across the island. Modern experiments suggest many statues may have been moved upright using ropes and coordinated human movement. Essentially, they were walked forward gradually. This demonstrates a recurring theme in megalithic studies. Ancient engineering often appears impossible only because modern observers underestimate what organized human labor can achieve. Why megalithic sites create so many theories? Megalithic sites often generate extreme theories. Why? Partly because scale creates emotional impact. When people see enormous stones moved without modern machinery, they instinctively search for extraordinary explanations. This has led to lost civilization theories, ancient technology claims, alien hypotheses. But archaeology relies on evidence. And so far, evidence consistently shows that ancient builders used methods available within their historical context. This does not make their achievements less impressive. In many ways, it makes them more impressive because it demonstrates what human beings can accomplish through cooperation, experimentation, engineering knowledge, and persistence. The temptation to invent impossible explanations often comes from underestimating ancient people. What megaliths reveal about human society? Megalithic construction required more than engineering. It required social organization. Large projects demand leadership, food systems, skilled labor, resource management, shared cultural motivation. This means megaliths reveal something profound about early societies. They show that humans were capable of collective action on enormous scales long before industrial civilization. And in many cultures, these monuments likely reinforced identity, religion, political authority, and community cohesion. Megaliths were not simply structures, they were social statements. The role of modern technology. Today, archaeologists use advanced technology to study megalithic sites. These tools include laser scanning, ground-penetrating radar, 3D modeling, drone mapping, and material analysis. Modern technology helps researchers understand quarry techniques, stone transport routes, structural engineering methods. Interestingly, these studies usually strengthen archaeological explanations rather than weaken them. They reveal increasing evidence of careful planning and practical engineering, not magic, not impossible machines, human ingenuity. Why these stones still matter? The fascination with megaliths is ultimately more than stone. These monuments connect us to ancient people across thousands of years. They remind us that history is filled with achievements we are still learning to fully appreciate. Ancient megaliths continue to raise questions, not because they are beyond explanation, but because they challenge assumptions about the past.
They reveal civilizations capable of engineering, planning, mathematical understanding, and monumental ambition. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: ancient people were not primitive minds struggling towards civilization. They were intelligent human beings solving difficult problems with the tools and knowledge available to them. The stones they left behind are proof of that, and thousands of years later, they still inspire awe. If you enjoy evidence-based history, archaeology, and ancient mysteries grounded in real research, subscribe for more documentaries exploring humanity's greatest ancient achievements.